ignore. One rookie looks like he's ready to make an impact on day one and can change this season. But the other highly talked about rookie, the warning signs are starting to show. Is it too early to worry? Or are we seeing exactly how this coaching staff feels? We're going to break down camp reports, players that are climbing while others are disappearing. And you don't want to miss this live. So, shout out to everybody in the building. We're going to talk about some of these rookies and what impact they could have day one, what rookies could possibly start day one, and who's making noise in camp. What should we look for when the pads come on, and all that good stuff, right? So let's get into it. Shout out to everybody in the building. I see my guy, Sacktown Raider Mike, first one in the building. Salute to you, my guy. Um, Rebel, I got an answer for the question from 2 days ago. Your question was, if you're a new NFL fan, what do you say to them in one sentence? Why they should become a Raider fan? Answer is because. Um, where's the answer? The answer is because what? Did I miss the answer? Where's the answer? The answer is because. We'll go with that. Just because you should be a Raider fan. No, shout out to my guy Sacktown Mike in the building. But yeah, man. So let's get into it. First off, right? First off, question: which rookie will surprise everyone? Right? You got guys like Traden Stukes drafted in the second round. There's a lot of talk that he could start day one from the jump. You got guys like Trey Zune, which there's a lot of talk, can play every position, although we haven't seen him do that yet. That, could take one of these jobs, whether it be the right tackle, the left tackle. I mean, not the left tackle, the right tackle, right guard, left guard, right? So, which rookies do you feel will surprise everyone this year? Let me know in the comments. And to me, it's kind of hard, right? It's kind of hard because you have McCoy. We don't know if he's going to play, how much he's going to play, if he's ready to go, if he's healthy. That would be the obvious choice. Mendoza, another one, would be an obvious choice. There's a lot of critics that think Mendoza shouldn't have been drafted number one overall, and the Raiders, should have tried to get some assets, no matter what it was, and build this team, in a different way, right? But Mendoza, will he play? Will he get the start? At all this season? That is a big question. There's a lot of talk about Kirk Cousins, being the man, and Mendoza might not even get a chance to play. So let me know, which rookies do you feel will surprise everyone? Get back to this chat. Reverend Turf going to Houston? What? Hell yeah. Nice. I gotta get with Turf. Arnie Garza in the building. What's good, my brother? Appreciate you. Raider Paul in the building. Raiders. Hell yeah. Turf will be in Houston. That's nice. Yeah, I got to get with him. I'm going to have to get him on the show before we go. Arnie Garza got a question. We'll get into that in a minute. Let me pin that. Get back to the chat. But yeah, give me your answers, man. Give me your answers. Who do you feel? What rookie do you feel will surprise everyone? Right? I'm going to go a little bit different way. I feel like it could be Karan Crawford. Now, hear me out, because people are going to be like, Karan Crawford, he hasn't shown anything, right? The pads aren't on. You can't show anything with the pads on, and you sure can't hit the quarterback, right? So you got to hold up to get to the quarterback. You really don't know what these guys are doing. But if you look at our edge, right, Malcolm Kuntz, there's still a lot of questions on Malcolm Kuntz. Is he going to be that guy from 3 years ago? Is he going to be the guy he was last year that or the guy he's been in his whole career, come on strong, in the later half of the season, because he's not getting a lot of reps and he has a lot more energy than guys like Max Crosby, who's playing, 90% of the snaps. So you look at that, you look at Kwity Paye, right? he was brought in to replace Max Crosby on that side. Is he going to get play on the other side? Is he going to be a guy that, is not on the field a lot? If he is on the field, is he going to be, that defensive end in the 3-4? But there's a lot of questions about this edge group. And I feel like you get rid of guys like Charles Snowden, right? There's not a lot of young guys on this team. I mean, you have Jafari Harvey, you have Tonka Hemingway, who kind of plays on that outside. But Karan Crawford, right? He's a guy that's been ascending throughout his college career. We've seen what he did on the other side of a guy that, a lot of people believed was a first round pick in Keldrick Falk. So to me, it's Karan Crawford. I really feel like this is a dude that could surprise a lot of people depending on how many snaps he gets, right? His speed, his athleticism, he's got good hands, and he's a guy that can get to the quarterback. Now, just like Max Crosby coming out of college, he has to work on the run, but it just so happens you have the defensive line coach in the building who helped Max Crosby be the run defender he is, right? In Travis Smith. So to me, that guy is Karan Crawford, but let me know how y'all feel about it. If y'all have somebody different. My guy Raider Paul, of course, says Mendoza. Jason Ruiz, what's good, my guy? We'll get to Mendoza in a minute. That'll be on another question. But my guy Raider Paul says Mendoza. Malik Benson, what's up, Steve? I see you in the building. Malik Benson could be a guy that makes a lot of noise. He can play from the slot. He can play from the outside. He has good footwork coming off the line. He can create separation with his speed and his size. And I think that's a guy that can definitely make a difference as well. My guy Steve in the building with the Fighting Irish. Good evening to you, my brother. Sacktown says Mike Washington. I love this one as well, right? And this one will be my pick for one of the other questions coming on later. But yeah, Mike Washington makes sense, right? He's not going to get a lot of carries, but when he does get carries, he has a chance of hitting that home run every time with his speed. If this offensive line is up to par blocking, Mike Washington could definitely be one of those guys as well. New York Giants going to kick ass this year. Who's going to be their quarterback, though? Can Jackson Dart stay healthy for an entire season? That remains to be seen. And then you look at the backups. That's a lot of questions. So my guy is Karan Crawford, man. I really feel like Karan Crawford could have a sneaky good year. There's not a lot of pass rushing guys on this defense, right? I mean, you got Max Crosby, and then you got Max Crosby, right? Thomas Booker, more of a run stopping guy. Adam Butler can get to the quarterback, but kind of better in that, run and taking up blocks, right? Then you have Kwity Paye, not known for, a guy that gets to the quarterback or puts a lot of pressure on quarterbacks or even makes sacks, right? And then, so a lot of questions on this defensive line, not just on the edge. We have some outside linebackers, that and can make some plays, but still a lot of questions. My guy Arnie Garza says, question: If Cousins doesn't perform or gets injured in his first 4 games, do you start AOC or have Mendoza as his backup? That's a rough subject, man, and that's a rough topic, right? That's a rough topic because there's a lot of people that hate on Aiden O'Connell, which I don't know how you could hate on one player as a Raider fan who hasn't really done anything but give it his all for this team. But, the hate flies around. So, my opinion, if Mendoza's not ready by week 4, I don't see him being ready by week 4 if he's not ready by week 1, right? Because how much more are you going to learn from week 1 to week 4? Being the second or the third string quarterback, you're doing walkthroughs. You're not getting any reps. I mean, like you're getting some reps with the number 1 defense, and that's about it. But how much more ready from week 1 to week 4 are you going to be? If you're not ready week 1, I don't see him being ready week 4. So we shall see, man. It's an interesting topic, right? There's a lot of people that believe AOC will not make it through the preseason. And then there's people that believe, you keep him on and you keep him as a backup because Cousins not going to be here next year. So there's a lot of questions that need to be answered, but the easy answer is AOC, bro. You give AOC that chance, and again, there's a chance that AOC could beat out Cousins. I know a lot of people think it's crazy, but crazier things have happened in the NFL. My guy says, Arnie Garza, question: does Dean injury worry you with Lindenberg at the backup? I mean, it's got to worry you a little bit, right? You haven't seen Cody Lindenberg at all take any reps except for in preseason and on special teams, right? So we don't really know if he's ready, if he understands the defense, how fast he grasps the defense, right? There's a lot of questions with Cody Lindenberg. But from what I've seen from his workout and what I've been hearing, is they love Cody Lindenberg, right? There's a reason they drafted him. He's got that high motor. He's physical. He's got that dog mentality. And if he does get on the field, that could be a guy that could make could make a name for himself very early if Dean can't get on the field because of the injuries, right? I mean, we'll see in camp coming up if he's out there at all. I really don't see him playing in the preseason or being out there, if he's dealing with an injury when the pads come on. So, good question. Sectem Mike says, I like Cody Lindenberg. I do too, man. I feel like, he's not the fastest guy, but if you're playing the Kobe Dean spot, right, you're pretty much you're that Mike linebacker. You're the guy in the middle that's either blitzing the quarterback, chasing down the run. And I feel like that fits him well. Like, I thought that would be be Tommy Lindenberg's spot. I mean, Tommy Eichenberg's spot, but we'll see how that goes. Stukes and Vincent will have more of an impact this season. Will have more of an impact all season. Then what? It's possible AOC won't even be on the team. That is a very, very high possibility. There's a very high possibility, but that possibility is about as high as him, playing for the Raiders sometime this year. So we shall see, man. We shall see. It'll all take place in a couple of weeks, right? And then we are a month away from preseason games, and everybody will find out who the quarterback is. Can Cousins stay healthy? Is he still that guy? And we're gonna break down some stats. We're gonna look at that as well. Who are you projected rising stars in preseason this season or on defense? We'll get to that in a minute. But I guess I got two answers to the question. Next question is: did the Raiders finally solve their future with this draft class? Let me know. Why for yes and for no. And then if you feel like explaining your answer, go ahead and feel like explaining your answer. But that lets me know that you're answering the question. So why for yes and for no? Do you feel that the Raiders solved their future with this draft class? I mean, they went and got a backup running back. They went and got another lineman. We have a whole bunch of young, second and third round offensive linemen. They went and got another wide receiver, right? Which some are saying could be that rookie breakout guy and that X guy. So they went and got their quarterback, the main one, right? The biggest problem Raider Nation has been screaming about forever. We need a quarterback. We need a quarterback. But if you don't have a defense or an offensive line or receivers that can get open for him to throw to, it doesn't matter how good that quarterback is. Just look at the Bills, right? Just look at the Bengals. I mean, you can go down the line. Look at Jordan Love and the Packers. I mean, if you don't have guys that can create separation in the offensive line, like you can win on defense and scoring, outscoring teams because your defense is good, but that doesn't last forever. It doesn't last forever. The Broncos tried that last year. But I feel like the answer is obviously yes, right? You ain't got your franchise quarterback of the future, Some question that. I have some questions myself. I got to see it. There's a lot of things he did in college that says this kid is not ready, right? One being taking all your snaps in the shotgun. How quick can you learn it? It seems like he's learned it pretty quick, but it all changes when the bullets start firing and you got 320-pound dudes, screaming down your neck. Right? There's a big difference. And we've seen some of the plays in college. When you have open guys, when you have, quick throws and quick passes, he's elite. But then there's other times, man, you got to question it. So I feel like the answer is yes, right? They went and got plenty of young guys. You got Traden Stukes, you got Dalton Johnson, you got Hezekiah Massis. You know, I feel like yes, the answer is yes. They definitely solve their future, but there's still pieces to add. You can always add pieces. We don't have a pure pass rusher on this defensive line. We have a bunch of run stoppers and some, guys that we don't know. Can JJ Pegues be that guy? Can Tonka Hemingway be that guy? Lots of questions still remain to be seen. And the next question is kind of a two-part question. I didn't put the other part up, but who wins Offensive Rookie of the Year um, this year? And do we have anybody to battle for Offensive Rookie of the Year on this roster? Now, we got Mike Washington, we got Fernando Mendoza, and Malik Benson. Now, I don't think a guy like Trey Zune is going to be Offensive Rookie of the Year as a lineman. But crazier things have happened. I guess probably crazier things have not happened. So, who do you feel? Let me know in the comments. Who do you feel, if anybody, could compete for Rookie of the Year? Now, I know you're going to say Mendoza, but if Mendoza only plays 9 games, do you feel like he can do enough in 9 games? Let's just average, say 9 games, right? Say he comes in, week 8? That would be week 8, right? Say he comes in week 8. I do believe that's the Jets. That's where I predicted, earlier on a couple months ago. Jets looks like a good place to start, right? Have him go up there, play against Geno. I think that'd be fun. But if Mendoza plays, say 9 games, if he goes 6-3, is that enough to be qualified for Rookie of the Year? I mean, you have not Jordan Love, but the other Love, the running back that was drafted. You have Carnell Tate, right? You have some wide receivers drafted very, very high. Omar Cooper. There's some guys up there, right? So, do you feel like the Raiders have anybody on this roster that we drafted on offense that can compete for Offensive Rookie of the Year? Let me know. Arnie Garza says, who are projected rising stars in this season, preseason, on defense and on offense? Projected rising stars for me is Cedric Jackson, man. If you look at what Cedric Jackson did last year, right? Only had 5 attempts, caught 4 of them. One of them was for a touchdown. the other one was for a first down. So you got a first down and a touchdown out of 4 completions with 50 plus yards. So Cedric Jackson to me is a guy that, everybody should be watching, not just because of the name. And I think a lot of people hear the name Jackson and they're like, oh, it's just the bloodline. You like him because of Bo. No, I like the kid because he's 6'2". He's 198 pounds and he runs like a 4.2. Some say a 4.29, but in the 4.3s. So when you have that size and that speed, and you have a coach like Clint Kubiak and a guy like Azani as your wide receiver coach, I think they're going to fall in love with Cedric Jackson. And I already believe that they fell in love with Cedric Jackson. Now, I've seen somebody send me an image from camp, and it showed Coach Ozani over there with Cedric Jackson in the playbook while everybody's stretching. He took the time to go out of his way to go speak to Cedric Jackson. I don't know what they're going over. If he's like, man, you're making this roster, like if you do this, this, and this, or if he's my guy. But we've seen Ozani, talking one-on-one with guys like Cedric Jackson and Malik Benson. Now, I haven't seen any other photos or, of them talking one on one with any other guys, and I'm sure they have. But, when everybody's stretching and your wide receiver coach comes over there to go over plays or whatever he's talking about, whatever he's pointing out with a sheet in his hand, to me says something, right? Says something. If you look at what Cedric Jackson's done, if you heard, the all off season, he went from the second string to the third string. He's making plays from the slot. He's making plays from the outside. He's getting behind the defense. I think he had a couple touchdowns with three different quarterbacks throwing him the ball. So Cedric Jackson to me is a guy that should be on a rising star. I've talked about it before. He was behind Jamar Chase. He was behind Higgins, right? He was on a Bengals squad where you had two great wide receivers, and you learn, how they run routes, how they go about starting their day, how they prepare for games, right? How they watch film. That's a lot. That's why I believe in Trey Tucker with, but who are your projected rising stars in the preseason? That's a tough one. That's a tough one. On defense, when the pads come on, like I said, I want to see guys like Crawford out there making plays, right? Getting to the quarterback, disrupting the line, and yeah, you can't tackle the quarterback, but you can at least get to him. They know when it's a sack, right? So I want to see guys like that. Hezekiah Masses. I want to see what Hezekiah Masses can do going, when the pads come on and the bullets start firing. Is he more aggressive? Does he take more chances? Because we've heard a lot of talk about Hezekiah Masses before he was drafted on this channel, and then after he was drafted by everybody, right? Talking about, this kid comes from the East Bay, should know kind of the culture, although the Raiders weren't there while he was there, but Raider Nation is still there. So I don't know. I don't know. And if we're talking about just players in general, Darian Porter, right? I feel like Darian Porter needs to take that next step, or his job might be in jeopardy, because you got guys like Hezekiah Massis, you got guys like Gerard McCoy. And if McCoy's healthy, or Hezekiah Massis can get some of those looks in the preseason and show that he can tackle better, he can attack the ball better in the air, right, than a guy like Darian Porter, then that's not good news for Darian Porter, who a lot of people feel like was a Pete Carroll type draft pick, kind of like Dante Thornton, more than a spy tech pick, but we'll see. So I think Darian Porter has a lot to prove. You have to watch out for that guy. On offense, I feel like it's Jackson Powers Johnson. Um, he has to be that guy in the preseason. If he's out there making mistakes, if he's getting stupid penalties, right, or if he can't stay healthy, from injuries, from going too much, it's not going to look good for him. So I feel like it's got to be Darian Porter. It has to be a guy like JPJ, and then one of these receivers, man, whichever one. I said Cedric Jackson, but you got Malik Benson in the building. You got a bunch of young rookies, EJ Williams. You got some older guys that you brought in, like Brendan Jackson. So it's hard to say, man. It's hard to say. Hard to say who the rising stars are. And if I had to guess, Arnie Garza, I would love to say all of them, every single one, right? Every single one of our players are going to shine when the pads come on. We hope. Arnie coming up with some good question. It's fun to talk about, right? Love when Arnie's in the building. No, but we're well on our way. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are there. Mendoza, Stukes, Kuhn, Washington, Benson are the future. Where's that leave Genty if Washington's the future? John Leon in the building. What's good, my brother? All right. Garza's got another question, but let's get to mine first. Shit, I didn't erase all those. Which rookie will surprise everyone? Hold up, let me erase this. I got that one. Raiders finally solved their problem. Delete. I got that one. Delete. Hold on. All right. So the next question is, if you could guarantee one rookie becomes a Pro Bowler, who would you choose? Now, I already know most of y'all are going to say Mendoza, but think about your answer first, right? Think about your answer first. How many quarterbacks make the Pro Bowl from each division, from AFC and NFC, right? Think about the quarterbacks that are in the AFC before you scream out Mendoza. But if you could guarantee any rookie becomes a Pro Bowler, who would you choose? Who would you choose? To me, I got two. I got two. I feel like Traden Stukes is a guy that could be that guy, right? He has the speed, he has the size. He's played a lot of football. He's very aggressive when when the ball's in the air. He tries to win a lot of those. So I got Traden Stukes. I think has a chance to be a Pro Bowl, and I would not be surprised if he doesn't make it one day. And then after that, I'm gonna have to say Jermon McCoy as well. If he stays healthy, I feel like the Raiders drafted two players in this draft that have Pro Bowl potential. Now, we haven't seen anything with the pads on, so this is just speculation before people blow up in the chats, right? It's just speculation. But from my eye test, and hearing these guys speak, the way they know football, right? Their work ethic, the want to be the best, but humbly wanting to be the best, right? Not telling everybody like, this is what I'm focused on, right? Traden Stukes, when he talks, he wants to make everybody else around him better. He wants to, earn the respect of the guys, and it's hard to find guys like that are unselfish in the NFL. So for me, I'm gonna go Stooks and I'm gonna go McCoy. I think both of those guys have a very, very good chance of being Pro Bowl players one day. And I wouldn't be surprised if a guy like Trey Zune you can throw in there as well. Now, if the Raiders get three Pro Bowlers eventually down the line out of this class, does this class go down as the best Raider class since Derek Carr and Khalil Mack 2014 draft? Because we've had some good drafts. But over the history of the Las Vegas Raiders, the Oakland Raiders, and the Los Angeles Raiders, there's not too many draft classes where we've hit on more than two or three players. I don't know if there's any. I'm gonna have to go back and look at that, but there's not too many. There's not too many at all. So let me know. Do you have anybody that you think we drafted in this draft class that has a chance to make a Pro Bowl? And you could throw Mike Washington in there, right? If he becomes with that speed and his size, in a Kubiak system, he could very easily be in that running. Now, do I think he gets enough stats to be, rookie of the year candidate? I just don't see it with Genty in the building. Other than Genty, how disappointed are you in last year's draft? With two throwaway picks. I wasn't happy at all with the throwaway picks. Let's be honest, Arnie Garza. I mean, you can't be happy losing two guys, whether it's sixth and seventh round picks, it doesn't matter. Like the Tommy Malot's pick never really made sense. But a lot of people felt like that was a Brady pick, like a Brady and a Spytech pick, right? So, it's hard to say who these picks were. If it was, the coaches, whether part the minority owner, or if it was the scouts in the building beating on the table saying, "Yo, if you go get this kid, we can turn him into a wide receiver." And Tommy Malott, right? We don't know. But I've heard both of those picks were Tom Brady guys, and Tommy Malott was gone. Cam Miller was good enough that the Miami Dolphins snatched him up, during the season and put him on another team. So that will be the show for tomorrow. We were going to talk about that tomorrow. Was the the sophomore class, but today we're doing the rookies. So we'll talk about the sophomores more tomorrow. So I feel like there is potential there, but we just didn't see it. Was it the coaching? Right? I mean, yes. Was it the favoritism and the nepotism? I mean, yes, yes to both, right? So we shall see. We shall see. Bowers, offensive rookie of the year. What would it take for Bowers to be offensive rookie of the year? Let's get into that. That's a good question, Sacktown Mike. Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments. Shout out to everybody in the building. What would it take for Brock Bowers to become the first tight end in NFL history to be offensive? Um, wait, not rookie of the year, offensive player of the year, right? But offensive player of the year. I do believe there is no tight end in history that has won offensive player of the year. So for Brock Bowers to become offensive player of the year, what do you feel like it would take? For me, he's already had a 1,200-yard season, right? As a rookie. So I think you got to do way more than that. I'm looking at 1,500 yards, 15 touchdowns. Now, if you telling me Brock Bowers has 170 something targets with, 150 or 160 catches for 1,500 yards and 10 and not 10 won't do it, I don't think, and 15 touchdowns, then yes, he could definitely be in that running for offensive player of the year. But that's hard, man. That's hard. That's hard. No one to battle unless Genty gets hurt. Washington Cousins gets hurt. Oh wait, no one to battle unless Genty gets hurt. Washington, Cousins gets hurt. Mendoza. Don't even put that out there, man. If something were to happen to Genty, I feel like our season's already done. I mean, to be honest, I think we'd have to go get another back. We'd have to sign one, bring on one from the practice squad. I just don't feel like Mike Washington, as of right now, now maybe down the road, but as of right now and what I've seen from him in Arkansas, I don't know if he could come in and be that number one guy to take all the carries that Ashton Genty had, 250 something carries, right? So hopefully nothing happens to Ashton Genty because I don't think the Raiders are prepared for that whatsoever. They're expecting him to be durable, to play 17 games every single year of his career from what I'm looking at. Because if you're telling me Dylan Labe and Mike Washington are going to have to be the guys to carry the workload, I think Kirk Cousins struggles from that. Mendoza, AOC, whoever the quarterback is, I feel struggles drastically with that, right? Mike Washington, pass protection is not Ashton Genty's. Dylan Labe's pass pro is not Ashton Genty's. Roman Hemby's going to get picked up if you put him on a practice squad by somebody. I just don't see how he doesn't. So that would not be good. That would not be good, Arnie Garza. And I feel like, if something were to happen to Ashton Genty, please God, no, knock on whatever, then our season's done. We are not even you might as well tank. You might as well tank. Yes, I said it. Without Ashton Genty, you might as well tank unless you can go get, a free agent that comes in and can be that guy out of nowhere. I don't know. McCoy, if he stays healthy, he starts. Yes, sir. Does he start day one though? Even if he's healthy, right? The Raiders talked about how they're gonna, they have a plan for him. They have a schedule designed for, I think, how many games he's gonna play, when he's gonna play. I feel like it's gonna be a lot of sub packages, a lot of nickel and dime situation that he's on the field this year. So I don't know. I don't know if they would, even if he is the best corner opposite of Eric Stokes, are better than Eric Stokes. Right now they have him behind Eric Stokes. So I don't know how that, will work out, but definitely. Jackson will beat out Thornton because of our special teams. I could see that 100%. I've been on that train since day one. I feel like if we lose Cedric Jackson, it's a fail for it's a fail for the start of the guys in the building. And I'm not saying I know more than the guys in the building, but I've seen the guys in the building that we have, and I could tell you right now, Cedric Jackson is probably one of the top receivers that we have. Literally, I mean, he go watch whatever film you can find of Cedric Jackson. I mean, the way the man drops his hips, the way he, sets up receivers, and he's getting better and better and better, learning as he goes along. He's still young. He's like what, 24, 25 years old. So Thornton's job has been in trouble for a long, long time. I've was the I don't know. I'm not gonna say that, but I think I was one of the main guys that said from day one Thornton's job is in jeopardy since they drafted Malik Benson right off the rip. And now it's all over X on every report I see. I think Hondo Carpenter put out a report yesterday on X. Thornton's job could be in jeopardy. I think all the signs that I've been writing on the wall all off season are starting to come to light for a lot of people. Thornton's got a long way to go, and there's too many good receivers. I feel like in this building. Yes, they're not Stephon Diggs, and yes, they're not you know Chase. They're not these number one guys, but we don't know if they can be or not. A lot of them haven't had the opportunity. I mean, look at the targets Jalen Naylor had. That's not enough targets to do anything, right? That's not enough targets to get in the rhythm. But if you give him the targets that Justin Jefferson had, who's to say that he can't have the same numbers, right? Nobody. For me, Tommy freaking Eichenberg, Cody Lindenberg, Bashbergs. I hope they both do well. Cody Lindenberg, I really like Tommy Eichenberg as well. But man, if Quay Walker stays healthy, I just don't see how Tommy Eichenberg even gets on the grass, right? Because, for maybe a couple snaps here and there. And if Xavier Sori makes this team, that changes a lot of things as well. So Tommy freaking Eichenberg has a lot of freaking work to do, a lot of work to do, right? He's not good in pass pro. He's, God, when he was out there last year, he gave up some bad plays in short yardage. So, you know, a new organization, new coaching staff could help Tommy freaking Eichenberg. But he's a guy that I feel like's on the bubble. I mean, to be honest, he's definitely on a bubble. You were drafted high, but not by this organization. I mean, not by the leaders of this organization right now, right? It wasn't a spy tech pick. So to me, you got a lot of work to do. You got a lot of work to do. Xavier Sori, Brandon Jackson, right? There's a lot of guys that are gonna push for that other linebacker spot. And I don't know how many linebackers we keep, right? Does outside linebackers count as our linebacker group this year? I don't know. Raider Ryan, what's good? What's good? I think no need to wait till the pads come on before we make prediction on who's gonna shine or fail. Yeah, I definitely feel that. I definitely feel that because everything's going to change when the pads come on, right? Guys that have been out there, like the offensive line, the defensive line, the edge rushers, the linebackers, right? That don't really get any shine when the pads aren't on, all have a lot to do. Intrigued with Salone, Sion Salone. I, I really feel he makes this roster. I really do, Arnie Garza. That would be my surprise pick. If I had a surprise pick, a UDFA sneaking on this roster, it's Sion Sloan. It really is. He can play the linebacker position. He can play on the line of scrimmage, right? He can play on that wide nine. The dude has that Max Crosby motor, and I feel like they see that. So if you put him on a practice squad, I don't think he sticks. I don't think he sticks. So I think the Raiders are in a tough predicament. And I think that could be a reason why, guys like Xavier and Sori, my guy, that, might be in a little bit of trouble. Because Sloan is definitely a dog. If you go back and watch his college highlight films, man, the kid has a motor that doesn't stop. Like he don't give up. So definitely a guy that can sneak on this list, man. Um, Stukes a Pro Bowler. I could see that. I could see that in this defense. Dude, what the? Mark should sell the team. New owner would be better. Okay, you're a Niner fan. I want to the Yorks to sell the team. Should what? They just lost. Somebody just sold stake to go buy the Seattle Seahawks. So, shout out to the Niners fan that thinks Mark Davis should sell the team. I don't think Mark Davis will ever sell the team. This legacy is a Davis legacy that was built by Al Davis, and Mark Davis would be a fool to let that slip out of his grasp. Just my opinion. Fady Raider, what's good? What's good? Shout out for the $2 Raiders. I hope when Mark Davis sells the team, dude is clueless. You don't have to be, bro. Let me put that back up. Right? You don't have to be a football savant to be an owner. You know how many owners in the NFL don't know shit about football? They became owners because they have money. They bought a team and they let somebody else run it. That's what you do in the NFL. There's a lot of owners that aren't involved at all. They just put up money. They come to games, and they have people that do their job. Geo Mex in the building. Raiders, what's good, my brother? Long time no see. How are you? But yeah, the dude can be clueless, but he's doing everything it takes to turn this franchise around. This franchise was broke when Mark Davis took over. Now we have the luxury to pay guys $50 million guaranteed, $180 million guaranteed, $500 million guaranteed. I mean, without Mark Davis, the Raiders would not have the money or the luxury to pay these guys these guaranteed monies to make our, the contracts better. So I don't see the hate on Mark Davis. I really don't. I really don't. Mr. BMW, Mark took us from 80K to a team that is worth $9 billion. And Sacktown Mike just said it all, my brother. Shout out to you, Sacktown, right? The Raiders will get a great new quarterback in next year's draft. This dude is trolling. My guy, Lawrence, are you out of the hospital yet? Are you good? Is everything okay? I'm too old to be worrying about my homies, bro. Let me know. I hope everything is good. Vegas is like a ghost town. I don't know. I don't know what happened. Oh, man, it's expensive and not worth the trip. That's fine because there's plenty of fans in Vegas that could go to Raider games once they start winning. So, I hope Vegas does lose, it's whatever the hell the word is I'm looking for, right? Mystique, right? I hope it does lose that, and a lot of fans stop coming to Raider games just because they want to show up and travel to Vegas. So I hope it does, man. I really hope it does. My bad, mistyped again. I meant offensive player of the year. Yeah, I got you, my brother. I got you. Which which position group improved the most this offseason on offense and on defense? Damn good question, Arnie Garza. Um, and I don't have an answer for you. I mean, I do have an answer for you. Position group that improved the most, it's obviously the quarterback room. You bring in Kirk Cousins. He's Kirk Cousins. That's all I got to say. He's Kirk Cochains, right? Now he is 38. He is coming off the Achilles, and I don't think he's the same player he was 2 years ago. However, if you have an O-line that protects this man and he don't have to move out of the pocket or move around a lot, he can dink and dunk and get us where we need to be. So Um, it's easily the quarterback room. On defense, um, that's rough on defense, bro. That's rough on defense. I want to say linebacker room, but it's hard because both of those guys have a problem staying healthy. I mean, we know what Clay Walker is. We know what N'Kobe Dean is. We just don't know what they are when they play 17 games or if they can play 17 games. Both have Pro Bowl potential. One was an honorable mention on the top 10 linebackers in the NFL. Shout out to my guy, Clay Walker. Corner, I mean, we don't know what McCoy is. We don't know how much Hezekiah Massa is going to play. You could say safety room as well on defense. You know, Stooks and Dalton Johnson and Teron. I'm going to say safeties. I'm going to say safeties because you have Teron Johnson, you know, a veteran, a top five slot corner in the NFL, at least top 10 minimum when he's healthy and on the grass. I think that improves the safety room. I believe Traden Stooks is going to start day one, unlike, you know, McCoy and Hezekiah Massis. So on defense, I'm going to go to safety room. I think the safety room is the most improved. And, you know, that's keeping Chin in the building because that was, to me, that was our biggest weakness. Linebacker was rough, but I didn't mind Jamal Adams and, you know, Devin White making 170 tackles. I minded them in coverage, but hamburger $45 without a drink. That's yeah. Why do you think I don't go to Raider games? Shit, poor folks can't afford that. I would take Josh Allen in his prime. Josh Allen and his quarterback or Mahomes to be offensive player of the year. Oh, it would take, my bad. I just read that totally wrong. It would take Josh Allen as his quarterback or Mahomes for him to be offensive player of the year. You're talking Brock Bowers? Whoo! Whoo. I mean, damn. If you had one of those guys as your quarterback, I mean, maybe Patty Mahomes because he throws to the tight end, but I don't see any one of the. I don't see Josh Allen throwing to the tight end too much. You'd have to line him out in the slot. The hotels are trying to keep out the middle class and only want the rich to visit. Go, hey man, I ain't involved in all that, but I ain't arguing with you. I agree. I agree. You know, the rich just want to keep getting richer and make it to where only, you know, only rich people can come, and you're gonna lose fans that way. People bitch all the time about Raiders prices, and if they don't come down, I mean, we're constantly going to be the underdogs in our own stadium. So if y'all are listening, y'all got to do something about ticket prices. Nobody can afford a damn $45 hot dog when you could buy a pack of hot dogs for $3 at the store and cook 12 of the bitches yourself. Like, come on, man. The inflation is crazy. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I guess they think it's Vegas and people are going to pay that. But if you're smart, you eat before the damn game. You know, you go to In and Out, you get you a nice healthy meal, and you should be good for 3 hours. Bubble cuts, Meredith. Oh, I thought you said bubble guts for a minute. I was like, damn, Arnie Garza, sounds like a personal problem. Bubble guts, um, bubble cuts, Meredith Thornton, IPM, Ian Thomas, Dean goes to IR. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, Arnie Garza. Arnie Garza. Uh damn. Damn. All right. All right. Let's start with the first one. This organization would be asinine to get rid of Jordan Meredith. I'm going to call it like I see it, right? You don't know what you have in Caleb Rogers. He played a little bit. He was okay. He wasn't great in pass. He wasn't great in run. He was okay in both. Now, could that be the center that was next to him he has to double team with? Absolutely 100%. But if Meredith is not on this roster and they didn't trade for him, that's a fail to start the season to me. You have a guy that was graded 78 in the run, 80 in the pass in 2024, was a top 5 right guard in all of the NFL, and you move him to center. And now you get rid of him and cut him or release him. That's crazy to me. That's crazy to me. So I don't agree with the Meredith one. If Meredith doesn't make this team, I'm going to be very upset because our offensive line and any offensive line in the NFL has showed they cannot stay healthy. And with that being the case, you have to have solid backups. I believe Meredith is the starter. I mean, for me, if I'm starting this season, I'm putting Meredith at left or right guard, but he's one of my guards to start the season, especially with a guy like Kirk Cousins that can't run around and be mobile, right? He's damn good in pass pro. He's better than Caleb Rogers right now in pass pro. He's better than JPJ in pass pro. And he's better than Spencer Burford. And I don't care what anybody says. I've watched the tape. I've seen the tape. I've seen the ratings of Spencer Burford. And he has never, ever in his career had the ratings passing or rushing as Jordan Meredith. Jordan Meredith is a man, a grown man, an old ass man that's been, a UDFA that's bounced around. He's earned his job with the Raiders, in my opinion. If they release him, to me, it's just the same old Raiders doing the same Raider shit, letting go guys that are a big part of this franchise. And Jordan Meredith has been that dude, whether people like it or not. I mean, he played solid in 2024. He played pretty solid for being a first time center. And if you're going to get rid of that because your coach thinks, a guy like Spencer Burford has higher upside, to me, that it just don't make sense. Now you're probably only going to keep 9. So who do you lose? But to me, Jordan Meredith should be fighting for a guard starting spot in camp. And I feel when the pads come on, he's going to show the coaches that, wait a minute, why do we have this dude at center? Like, let's move him over. Move him over. That's my opinion. Thornton, I've said all along, I feel like Thornton is been on the bubble since day one, being injured out there, in camp, in mini camps, not being able to compete, not getting, any more reps with your quarterbacks, not getting any more continuity with your quarterbacks. I feel like hurts Dante Thornton. He was, I hate to say it, and it's nothing against Dante Thornton. It's just the truth. He was the worst catching receiver on our roster last year as a 4th-round pick. Now, do you wait 3 years for him to develop or 2 more years for him to develop and just keep him on the roster to make a couple plays here and there? When you have guys like Cedric Jackson and, Derek Young and Malik Benson and shit. I just don't see it. I don't see it. So Thornton's definitely on the bubble. IPM, I feel like, yes, I really do. I feel like he's on the bubble as well. If Dalton Johnson comes out and, shows that he can cover better and tackle, and then you got Stooks. I mean, to me, Isaiah Palomar is going to have to do a lot in this offseason when the pads come on to show that he's that guy, and he still keeps his job. And I wouldn't be surprised if IPM is a cap casualty just because of the youth movement. Ian Thomas, he caught every pass we threw to him last year. The problem was all those passes were behind the line of scrimmage or behind the 5-yard line. So I mean, I don't know how great that is. He's not a great blocker. He's big, but I wouldn't be surprised if Ian Thomas gets cut as well. And I'm going to tell you why. Because Brock Bowers, Michael Mayer, Carter Runyon, and I believe Connor Hayward will be our 4 tight ends, right? They won't list him as a tight end because they might want to keep another back. Either way, it's still taking a player off the roster. But I feel like we keep 4 tight ends, and Ian Thomas is not one of them. If Dean goes to the IR, man, that's a huge loss for us. That's a huge mistake right off the rip, coming out swinging in the fences in free agency. The money you paid him to not be ready week 1, I think that's a bad look. Now, if they knew that was the case, why the hell didn't they go get more linebackers? Right? So, a lot of questions there. Arnie Garza. What is the biggest Kubiak factor on offense? What is the biggest Leonard factor on defense? The biggest Kubiak factor is absolutely easy, bro. That's easy. It's his skill set. It's his knowledge of the game. It's his knowledge of how to beat defenses. He learned that from his father, right? His father was an NFL quarterback. His father was also an NFL coach. So you you've been around it, you've seen it, you know what it takes. He just came off a Super Bowl. His biggest factor is going to be making these wide receivers known to me, right? Making these guys known right away. First couple weeks, maybe even preseason. You're gonna know Jalen Naylor. You're gonna know, you're right. You're gonna see Jalen Naylor. You're gonna know who he is. You're gonna know Trey Tucker. I feel like you're gonna know Cedric Jackson, right? He's gonna make sure that a lot of these gurus that are saying the Raiders, wide receiver room is the biggest problem could turn out to be our biggest strength. Could be out turn out to be our biggest strength. And I know we don't have those guys that are number ones, but we have a Brock Bowers who's going to take double team. And if you're not doubling him, you're stacking the box for Genty. And when you do that, you leave a whole bunch of speedy guys like Malik Vincent, Trey Tucker, Jalen Naylor, right, wide open. And then you have the physical guy in Jack Besh and Jordan Meredith. So to me, Kubiak's biggest factor is his offensive knowledge of, you know, how to scheme guys open, how to help make these guys better route runners, right? On defense, the biggest factor for Leonard is going to be right. He's got nothing to lose except for a job, I guess, for the future. But how long is his contract? Right? Was it a 1 year contract, a 2 year contract? Is he a guy that's going out there and fighting for his job, where he thinks he's going to have to throw everything in the kitchen sink at offenses to try to make it work, or if he is he a guy that's comfortable feeling that he's got this year and possibly a next year to show what he can do? I think that all comes down to it. But I think his biggest factor is going to be he's going to let these guys play free, right? We've heard the nonstop, all these coaches say the same thing. The wide receiver coach, all these coaches, but mostly Robbie Leonard. I don't want these guys thinking. I don't want them hesitating. If you hesitate, if you're not giving 100%, 110%, and you're not going, forward, you're not going to be out there. So I think that's his biggest factor is he's going to let guys blitz. He's going to blitz from the safety, blitz from the linebacker, blitz probably even corners, right? I wouldn't be surprised. And you're going to have a lot of sub packages. And when you're in a base defense that, you can't tell if it's cover 4 or cover 2 or cover 1, or, if they're running palms or if they're running quarters and palms, or, if you can't tell what the defense is, I think that's going to be his biggest factor. And the guys he's been around, I feel like Rob Leonard knows exactly what he's doing, what he wants to do. And I know I feel like he knows how to get it across to the players because he's a younger guy, right? He has that, you know, he has that bravado and persona about him where, he fits this Raider culture to me. Offensive line with Coach Dennison improved immensely. I would say the offensive line, but the reason I didn't say the offensive line, Geo Mix, is because I don't feel like that was the biggest problem. I feel like the coaching was the biggest problem. I feel like the players we already had in the building, we could have done fine, right? If we didn't go get Tyler Linderbaum and we went with JPJ, Jordan Meredith, Caleb Rogers, Charles Grant, and Colton Miller, I would have been fine with that. Me, for one, that saved us a whole lot of money, and we could have went and got that number one wide receiver or whatever everybody else thinks it is. So yes, they're going to improve immensely, but I feel like a lot of them were already solid players. They were just horribly coached. So I get that. Arnie, you ever thought of going into the interview business? Right? Oh, that's what tailgates are for. Eat drinks before you going into the game. That's what most of us did in Oakland. Food and drinks were ridiculous even there. And they tasted bad too. It wasn't bad in Oakland. It wasn't even close to bad in Oakland as it is in Vegas. I mean, shit, you could still get a beer for like $6, right? Now it's 25. Now it's 25. Damn. JJ Pegues won't make the 53. Maybe practice squad. I could see that. I could see that, Arnie Garza. I could see that 100%. Thornton is white. What? White elephant revised. I don't know what that means. James Furpo in the building. Raiders. James Furpo was walking away with all the jerseys today on Murph show. I forgot what it's called. I don't know why the hell it just crossed my mind. But shout out to my guy Furpo cleaning house over there. Didn't you win a jersey last week and this week? Tearing it up. Tearing it up. He was on a win streak. You need to go to Vegas, my brother. Go to Vegas. Throw some of that. Throw some of that money in there. Raiders. Is Bowers Kubiak's JSN for the Raiders team? Arnie Garza? I don't know. No, I don't. I think it's Cedric Jackson. I think it's Cedric Jackson. I really do. I feel like it's going to be Cedric Jackson or a guy like Jalen Naylor who doesn't, quite have the speed. But no, I really feel like it's Cedric Jackson. If you look at what everybody just immediately jumped to, the fact that when Clint Kubiak was asked about Trey Taylor and did he remind him of anybody he's coached, he said yes, but we're not going to put that on him yet. Now, everybody just assumed that it was JSN he was talking about. And I said it then. He wasn't talking about JSN. He wasn't talking about JSN at all. He was talking about Rashid Shaheed. If you look at Trey Tucker's number with Rashid Shaheed, they are identical. They had the same number of targets, the same number of catches, the same number of yards. Actually, Trey Tucker had a little bit more yards, I believe, but almost the identical same yards per catch, right? They're pretty much identical. So I feel like, that's more the comp. The size is, a difference, but the size is different with JSN too. So if you're asking me, I feel like the comp he was comping Trey Tucker to was more of a Rashid Shaheed, but I don't feel like it was any of those guys, right? I feel like it was more of a guy that he had coached in Minnesota and not Seattle, because nobody said, does Trey Tucker remind you of a guy you coached in Seattle? He said, does Trey Tucker remind you of a guy of any guys you have coached? Well, he's coached in a lot of places. I mean, he coached in San Francisco. He coached in Minnesota, right? Coached in Seattle. So I think the assumption that it was who they were talking about in JSN, no, I don't. But to me, the closest player to JSN on this roster is Cedric Jackson. He has the exact same height, the exact same build, the same catch radius, right? To me, and he's faster than JSN. So if it was me, that would be my pick. Love it, Mendoza. Now a Genty jersey, silver and black collectibles, right? That shit was fire. Gruden's story of the White Tiger shows up when he wants to. That is Thornton. Oh, I get you. Gruden's story of the White Tiger. Shout out to Arnie Garza. Look at you dropping the knowledge today, my brother. Appreciate you in the building. Hi today. What's good? What's good? Appreciate you popping in. I don't feel like Thornton showed up when he wants to. I just think he was not ready, right? Tennessee is not the NFL. The way they use receivers in Tennessee is the main reason you don't draft that dude where you drafted him, right? Number 4 was way too high. I think Malik Benson is way ahead of him already. Way ahead of him. So he had some, he had a couple of good targets. I think he had 30 targets for 10 catches. Was it even that? I don't know. I have to look at his stats. Didn't I do this already this month? I don't know. I forgot. But shout out to the new members of the Raiders Unleashed Militia. Appreciate you joining the family. Ray, Angel Eyes Melissa, JXF, excuse me, Jeremy Albertson, and what the hell? Astravelli. Welcome, 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 welcome. Chilling, nice. Raiders News Central. Raiders. What's good, my guy? What's good? Appreciate you dropping in. Raiders. I think we are allowed to give away 10 each month. Oh, nice. Well, welcome, welcome, welcome to the channel. All right, to this next question. We got the rookie. Nobody answered. Who will be the first fan favorite this season? Right? If Mendoza's not out there, who is going to be the first guy to make that play? Because you know how Raider Nation is. They love to jump on, one play and they're like, oh my God, this is the greatest player in the history of Raider Nation, right? So who is going to be, who do you feel will be that guy that becomes the first fan favorite? Let me know. Let me know. For me, it's Mike Washington. It's Mike Washington because I feel like I said it only takes one big play for Mike, right? One handoff, one good cutback lane, opened up by the offensive line, and this dude is to the house, and you ain't catching him, right? And if you're in his way, you're going to get ran over. So to me, I feel like the first fan favorite is going to be Mike Washington, right? Because Trey Zune, may or may not get out there. We don't know. McCoy may or may not get out there. Hezekiah Massis, I believe, is going to play and make this roster. Traden Stukes, same thing. Malik might be that guy. I wouldn't be surprised if Malik Benson is also that guy. If he's out there with Kirk Cousins, I think Kirk Cousins can make him look good. I feel like Aiden O'Connell can make him look good as well. If they put him on the left side, where he likes to throw the most on those deep balls. But let me know. You think it'll be the kicker Tokyo Toe? You think it'll be like a guy like Hezekiah Massis? Maybe hit an interception, take one to the house. But who do you feel like is going to have that first play that makes everybody jump on the bandwagon? Lot D was a spot for great food, music, great fans, nothing like an Oakland Raider party. I feel like pretty much any lot you went to in Oakland Stadium was a damn good time. But yeah, Lot D. What's the other one? H. I forgot where the fuck I went all the time. I was drunk most of the time back then, but yeah, always a good time. Always a good time. Brock Bowers. Argenti, maybe. James Furbo says Mike Washington. Are you asking about new guys? Yes, rookie. What rookie do you feel? What was the question? What rookie do you feel becomes the first fan favorite? Washington, Benson, Massis, Stukes for a pick 6. All of them? You gonna call all of them Arnie Garza? I love that. I love that. I love that. All of them. All of them gonna be fan favorites. I love it. I love it. Let's not discriminate. Let's not discriminate, right? All of them. That's a great answer. Great answer. You got that right. After Lincoln Kennedy retired, Lot D was where we hung out. Met him countless times. Yeah, the big man like to tailgate for sure. Does he tailgate in Vegas? Has anybody seen him out there in Vegas? Let me know. Because I know he was a big one of those, a big fan when it comes to being at Raider games and tailgating in Oakland. So I don't know. I ain't been to a Raider game in Vegas. Let me know. McCoy, if he stays healthy, I like that. Hit those likes. Yeah, hit those likes, man. Run those likes up. It lets YouTube know that you liking this content, and they push more people over here. Is it just me, or is Rebel muted on his stream? Can you not hear? Did I do something? Can y'all hear me? That would suck. Caramel pancake block third strings to the sideline. Okay. Okay. One thing about Trey Zune is I felt like he wasn't a very good run blocker in college at that tackle spot. You can hear me? Good. Nice. Appreciate that. I hope Genty takes it to the house on his first play, first touch of the season. At this point, anything will be better than last year's first play of an interception. Yeah, you just had to mention that. Golly. I guess you're right, my guy GeoMix. I mean, what? What could be worse than Geno Smith's first pass in the NFL as a Raider at home is an interception? I'm sorry. Y'all can get mad if you want to, but I can't help but laugh. I mean, I tried to tell y'all. I tried to tell y'all. Golly. Geno is an if quarterback. I said that all offseason. If everything goes great, he's okay. Thanks, Arnie. I backed out and came back. Now it sounds good. Nice, nice. What's good, G fam? What's good, my brother? Love Kennedy as our color commentator. Much knowledge, blunt as hell when we suck, right? I love Lincoln Kennedy too. How can you not love the professor, man? The professor always in the building. Shout out to all the people in the building. Blame Geno. Yes, we are all blaming Geno, Jason Marshall. I'm gonna blame Geno all year long. Anytime Kirk Cousins throws a pick, it's Geno's fault. Anytime Fernando Mendoza, if he's out there, throws a pick, it's Geno's fault. If Aiden O'Connell don't get on the grass, it's Geno's fault. I'm telling you, I'm blaming Geno for everything all year long. Even though he's not on the team, he's still blamed. He's still blamed. What was this? Rebel, what's your prediction for the Houston game? Shout out for the $5 smackerizzle. Appreciate you, my nizzle. My prediction for the Houston game? Golly. We played pretty good against Houston. I would love to come out with a victory. I'm gonna say we ain't even had pads on. I don't know where we at. Damn, that shit is tight. Good Lord. My head got bigger or something. I don't know what happened. No pads on. I'll go out on a limb, man. You know me. I'll go out on a limb. I'm gonna say preseason. I'm gonna go 27. I'm gonna go 27 24 Raiders. 27-24 Raiders. We win by a Tokyo toe field goal to make him make the team, and the Raiders start a new inaugural kicker. And that's my prediction. And I only say that because Houston is not going to play a lot of their starters. My eyes are watering like crazy. A lot of their starters, all that laughing. Right, probably won't be on the grass very long. We know they're CJ Stroud, probably not going to see much of CJ Stroud, right? There's no reason to put him out there. I feel like our depth is better. I feel like our depth is better. And if you're telling me Fernando Mendoza is my third string quarterback that gets to play probably a little bit of the first half and probably most of the second half, I say we beat Houston. I really do. And if we don't beat Houston, then Houston, we have a damn problem. We have a damn problem. If Mendoza's out there as the third quarterback in the second half, that's a problem in itself. But if you ain't picking apart Houston's D, then man, we're gonna be on here with a lot of questions. A lot of questions. A whole lot of questions. And yes, it's one preseason game, but I don't care. Um, Was Graham set up by Carroll last season? Absolutely. Absolutely. 100%. 100%. He was set up to fail. You know, I believe Pete Carroll, and I believe strongly Pete Carroll thought he was going to be here for another year. And him and Patrick Graham were button heads from the jump. And, you know, he was trying to do everything he could to still win games, but make it look like he was the reason they won games. And Patrick Graham was the reason why they were losing games. And I just don't feel like that was the case. And we talked about it all season long. I kept saying after every game, I feel bad for Patrick Graham because he's not going to be here next year. And, you know, a lot of people are going to see what we had in Patrick Graham when he goes to Pittsburgh, or, you know, when the season starts for Pittsburgh this year. I feel like that defense is going to be a lot better than what they were last year with Patrick Graham, but we shall see. Ha ha ha, Rebel Mike. Marshall Raiders. What do you think honestly about what? Gonna be a tough game. Gonna be the toughest game of the year against Houston. Top three defense. They do have a top three defense, but it's a preseason game, so they're not gonna play a lot. And you know, we get a little bit to see what they have in the open scrimmage, right? So we have the open scrimmage with Houston. You know, maybe we can learn a couple things to try to do some things different than we weren't planning on doing with the game plan that I'm sure they will already have set for the game, right? Maybe they tweak it a little bit because we learned some things against Houston, or maybe they come out and try some things that they're not going to try during the season just to see if they work against, you know, a team like Houston's defense. It's a good way to test Aiden O'Connell. It's a damn good way to test Fernando Mendoza and see where he's at in his learning curve of, you know, running most of your plays under center instead of in the shotgun. So yes, that game will be telling. Top three defense is nasty, nasty. Raider Nation, show some support for our brother Rebel. Smash that like. Appreciate you, G fam. Um, Hold up, give me a second. I don't know why you are not. You damn mod. Appreciate you, my brother. Appreciate you. You should now be modded. Lincoln gave my daughter, who was four, a hug from the field. It was his final year as a Raider. Oh, that's sick. That's sick. That's a good ass memory. It's a good ass memory. Is your daughter still a Raiders fan? Raiders. Jason Marshall was good, my guy. 27-24. That's what I said. That's the score. That's what I said. Against Houston, played nothing but backup third stringers. Starters will play exclusively in joint practice. I agree with that. I agree with that. You let the starters go out there and rip in the joint practice. But if somebody struggles, Do you throw somebody else in? Let me know, Arnie Garza. Let me know. And I don't know if the Raiders are in a spot, Arnie Garza, where we can go in. We can go into the preseason like that, right? I don't feel like in a second preseason game, you're not going to have any starters out there. At least for the first quarter, you should have pretty much all your starters, right? Because you have to see how these guys gel together on the field against other teams, against other formations. I mean, you're practicing against an offense that after a couple of practices, you're going to start to get, what they're trying to do over there and know how Kubiak is calling plays. So the Houston game, the Cardinals game, and the 49ers game, I believe are huge, huge games for us, including that joint practice. But I really feel like the you have to play the starters, especially on the offensive line, right? These guys have to go out there and get live bullets and see how they work as a group, because you might find out that, okay, I thought Spencer Burford was going to be a little bit better with the, in between Colton Miller and JPJ. But if you look at him with the 49ers, it's not like he wasn't in between Pro Bowl, all pro tackles. So, and it didn't help him there. So we might see a couple different things in the preseason where, you find out that, damn, I didn't know Jordan Meredith played guard, right? Maybe something happens and they're like, damn, hey, Jordan, get in there at guard. We'll see. But I hope we get to see at least some of the starters on offense and defense for at least a quarter on all three of those games. If not, I'm going to be highly upset. But I definitely want to see all the rookies too. So, coaching staff was a bad bunch. Chip Kelly, highest paid OC, was wild. It was a tragedy, man. It was a tragedy. I'm not gonna lie. It was bad. You make him the highest paid offensive coordinator, I do believe, ever. Is he the highest paid offensive coordinator ever? That money was ridiculous for what he did. It's just crazy to me. It's just crazy to me. But that was a Tom Brady pick, right? I think it's going to be a crazy game since it's televised on ESPN. Preseason game. That's another thing, right? That game is going to be at night. So it's a Thursday night game, Thursday night preseason game in Houston. I will be there. Look for me in the stands. I will be holding up a big ass card that says Raiders Unleashed. And if y'all see me, record it. Record it. Be like, Rebel was on TV. This year we have an A+ staff, a young vet coach. Kubiak family have tons of resources. Preach that truth. Preach that truth. We do. An A+ staff, absolutely. I mean, we go from the worst offensive line coach in the history of the NFL to one of the top offensive line coaches in the history of the NFL. That's a big jump. That's a big jump, right? You keep in guys that, that did their job, like Luke Steckel, like Joe Woods, and you build around them. I think it was key keeping a couple of people that, that know the players. So maybe if a coach is, talking to a guy a certain type of way, one of those coaches could be like, hey, man, like, that's not how we talk to this dude, right? Because certain players you have to talk to differently. Some guys can take the criticism. Some guys can take you being on their ass constantly. And some guys just get in their feelings. So, yes, the resources are going to be great. Kubiak, the staff, way better. Breaking news: Pete Carroll hired what as tanking advisor for the New York Jets. Arnie Garza got jokes too. I love it. Furpo with the I don't know what that says, but this is what I got. Pink heart, smiley face. Let me try to read this. Yellow smiling, pink heart. Appreciate you, my bro. Appreciate you. Geomex, I think the Raiders will be well advised to keep 3 quarterbacks until they know Mendoza is the guy. AOC wouldn't enjoy being on the practice squad as the emergency quarterback, but Cousins Cousins S/B suited up. Confused me at that part. My guy Bane in the building. What's good? I feel like three quarterbacks is a must. Three quarterbacks is a must. Now, I know Raider Nation is real high on Mendoza, but there's a reason why there was a lot of talk about him not being a number one quarterback, not being ready, gonna have to sit and learn, right? There's a lot of things he didn't do in college that you're gonna have to learn in the NFL. And the fact that he wants to be, he's so meticulous and has to have everything perfect is another reason why, you got to have three quarterbacks. Cousins not going to be here next year. We've talked about this a million times. Why go out and pay 12, 15, 10, 12, 15 million dollars for a backup quarterback when you already have a guy in the building that you know what he is, what he can do in the system, what he can do with the players around him. It just doesn't make no sense to let him go to go get another one. Tanking advisor is Geno Smith. Yeah, I don't know why they went and got Geno Smith. I don't really think they need to take. I mean, they have one of the best rosters in all of football. If you look at the New York Jets, I mean, they are stacked at every position. The backup at every position and the backup, at that position. So they are three deep everywhere. But Geno Smith wasn't the answer. It wasn't the answer. I don't know how anybody can keep a job in the NFL by bringing in Geno Smith as your starting quarterback. That, to me, is a red flag and shows you don't know shit about the quarterback position. Because if you can look at any tape from Geno Smith's career from starting to Seattle, there was a reason he was good in Seattle. He had a running game. He had DK Metcalf. You had Tyler Lockett. You had JSN. There was a reason. You had a top 5 defense when you took over that team. Now, as those defensive players started to move on to other players, Geno's stats got worse, right? He had 3 good seasons in the NFL. And just don't see that's going to change. And it's definitely not going to change with the Jets, man. Definitely not going to change. I know I was misconfirming. That's what I don't know. What? Yeah, still a Raider fan, and she's raising my granddaughter to be a Raider fan as well. Nice. That's awesome. Shout out to your daughter. That's awesome. Yeah. My grandson, his second or third word was Raiders. Raiders. He runs around screaming Raiders, tackling people in church on stage. I got in trouble because he watched a little football at 2 years old. And the next Sunday they went to church, and before it all started, he was running around tackling people, screaming Raiders. So, yeah, got to raise them right. Got to raise the youth right. And now we got baby girl who is, 7 months old? Yeah, she's going to be a little Raider fan too. How will Cousins do behind Stone Forsythe, Meredith, Kappa, Rogers, the Mule? Man, to be honest with you, Arnie Garza, I don't think Kirk Cousins would have did any better than Geno Smith, right? I mean, we could talk shit about Geno, or I could talk shit about Geno all I want. He really hasn't had a great career, but I think he's a damn good or good enough quarterback that he should have had a better year than what he had. He shouldn't have been sacked 61 times. He shouldn't have had 17 interceptions to 19 touchdowns. His decision making was horrible last year. And I think Cousins would have did a little bit better, not much, because the offensive line struggled. The system was trash. The coaches were all button heads. Nobody was on the same page. And it's hard to go out there and give it your all and compete when you know you don't have a chance because the coaches aren't going to put your team in the best chance to win. So Cousins with his stats, we'll get to that in a second before I get out here. But yeah, he would have did a little bit better. But man, with Stone Forsythe and Alex Kappa, nobody has a chance, right? I guarantee you, I would put my left and right on it that Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, would not be the players they are if they had a Stone Forsythe and an Alex Kappa as their center. I'm just being honest. I don't know. Better than Gino, worse, or same as Gino. I think Cousins would have did better. I really do. I think Cousins could have did a little bit better. He gets the ball out a little bit quicker. He makes better decisions with the football. And, I don't feel like they would have been trying to make him take all those deep shots, knowing that we didn't have an offensive line to hold up for 4 seconds to let the guys get deep to throw the ball. It would have been a little bit different, but with the guys coaching, you can't really say it would have been much different. It was a different team at number one picking Mendoza. It's a great pick, no bust, but Raiders got him. Raiders got him so much hate. Yeah, Mendoza has a chance to be really good. But I mean, if you look at it, he's not really fast, right? He wasn't the greatest under pressure. I think he was one of the worst college quarterbacks last year under pressure. There's a lot of things that people are overlooking with Mendoza. It's gonna take time. I don't feel like he's a guy that should have been drafted number one overall. I really don't, and I'll stick with that till the day I die. I just don't feel like he was that guy. Now, maybe in 3 or 4 years, you can be like, "Oh, Raiders Rebel," look at him now. But that's fine. But I'm saying first overall, it just didn't scream first overall pick to me. I mean, he had a great team around him. He had one of the best coaches in college football. That I mean, look where Indiana's ranked now this year without Mendoza, right? I mean, look where they're ranked this year without Mendoza. So it was a lot about the coaching, the system, the culture over there, right? And Mendoza has way more pressure in Las Vegas than he's ever had in his life. There was not a lot of pressure in Cal for him to be, some great guy. There was no pressure when he went to Indiana. Nobody even knew his name or who he was. So there was no pressure for him to go out and win Indiana a national title. There's all the pressure in the world for this young man to come in day one and turn this franchise around who hasn't won shit in 43 years. That's a lot of pressure. A lot of pressure. And you have to learn the playbook and you have to learn the speed of the NFL and defense and disguises and all that, right? Now, we've talked about quarterbacks being starting day one, starting, week 3, week 4. We went over all the first quarterbacks. But what those quarterbacks had that Mendoza didn't have is they didn't have the greatest team around them. They had to do a lot of the stuff themselves to make that team better, right? Mendoza didn't have to do that. He had great players around him. Shit, hold on, I gotta take this. What up? Shit, I don't know. I don't know. I still got some of that, some steak, but we don't have no beans or nothing to make with it. Oh, shit. I don't know why I was looking at the screen, seeing that I turned it off, and I didn't turn off the damn camera. My apologies. Sorry, my kid was calling. Shout out to G Fan with the $5 smack a rizzle. Appreciate you, my nizzle. Super chat. Wait, what does it say? If your fiance allows it to help keep Raider Nation lights on. If my fiance, I don't have a fiance. P.S. Where is the Raider Barbie Candy hiding at? She's always fun. Is she not in the chat? Oh, she's right there. She's in there. She was 3 comments above you. But appreciate you, my brother. Jets remind me of the Lions when they were bad. A ton of top 5 picks everywhere and backups. I agree with that. I agree with that. They've been bad for so long that they just constantly accumulated all these first and second round picks, and I mean, look at all the picks they had last year, and look at all the picks they have next year, this year. I mean, if the Jets can't win at least 6 or 7 games with the talent they have, I mean, you got to sell the team. It's the owner. It's got to be the owner. I mean, it's got to be the owner. First, you got to fire the coach, but you got to sell the team, bro. That team is really stacked. I mean, when you can trade away, your star corner and your star defensive lineman and still be solid at the position, it says a lot. Says a lot. Can we beat the Chiefs with Fields starting instead of Mahomes week 4? Absolutely, 100%, 100%. If Fields is starting, I put money on it. The Raiders win, no matter who the quarterback is, whether it's Mendoza, AOC, or Kirk Cousins. I feel like we beat the Chiefs. If they just have to depend on their defense and their running game, yeah, I feel like we could beat them. Even with Mendoza, man, I think this AFC battle is going to be a lot closer than people believe, right? And I'm going to tell you why before I read this comment. Let me put this up real quick. Let me put this up real quick. To the quick. Oh my God, bro. I hate this shit. Why do I got to sign in? Oh my God, this is bullshit, bro. What's going on? All right, well, I guess I can't put up the damn picture because I'm not signed into my account. What is going on here? All right, I think I got it. Sorry, I had to log in. I don't know what the hell's going on. Yeah, so here we go. Or here we don't go. What's going on, bro? It's the wrong fucking account. Are you kidding me? Are you seriously kidding me? Man, all right, I'm not going to show this damn graphic. I'm just going to read it. I don't know what the hell just happened. But for some reason, I'm logged out of both of my accounts. All right, so. Where the flip is it? My bad. I apologize. All right, here we go. So, since 2020, right? Since 2020, we are going to break down Justin Herbert, Patty Mahomes, Kirk Cousins, and we'll sprinkle a little bit of Bo Nix in there just for the hell of it, right? Since 2020 till today, Patrick Mahomes has completed 2,369 completions. Justin Herbert has about a 100, less than 100 less, or a little over 100, 2,285 completions. Kirk Cousins, oh, this is in 95 games total. So both of them have played 95 games, Herbert and Mahomes. Those were their numbers. Kirk Cousins has played in 81 games. He has 1,830. That is 400 less than Justin Herbert, and that is 500 less than Patrick Mahomes. Kirk Cousins has played in 13 games less than Mahomes and 13 games less than Justin Herbert. Now, if you look at his average per game at 224 yards, I believe it is, right? Times 13 games, he blows by Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert in attempts or completions. These are completions. My bad. Attempts. Mahomes has 3,574. Justin Herbert has 3,438. Kirk Cousins, in 13 less games, has 2,753. Now, if you want to sprinkle Bo Nix in there, he started 34. He has 764 attempts with 1,119 completions, which is a 64.8 completion percentage, right? Now, Cousins is 700 or less than 700 yards behind Herbert. He is also 750 yards behind or attempts than Mahomes. So Kirk Cousins, 13 less games. If you just average a measly 20, which his career average is around 25, I do believe, per game. If you average 20 for 13 games, that puts him right there with Herbert and Mahomes. Now, completion percentage, right? Because a lot of people, and I see people leaving, but a lot of people seem to think that Mahomes, is the GOAT and Herbert is the GOAT and Bo Nix is the shit and Kirk Cousins or Aiden O'Connell or Fernando Mendoza can't compete in the AFC West. I'm telling you, you're wrong. Clint Kubiak or Kirk Cousins in 81 games has a 66.5 completion ratio. Bo Nix in 34 games has a 64.8. Herbert in 95 games has a 65.5. The same completion percentage as Kirk Cousins. Now, if you go through Kirk Cousins' career, I believe it's the highest percentage in the NFL over Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. Patrick Mahomes, a 66.3. So Patrick Mahomes' completion ratio is less than Justin Herbert and less than Kirk Cousins. Total passing yards. In 5 years, Mahomes has 26,500 yards. Herbert has 24,800 yards. Kirk Cousins, in 13 less games, has 20,593 yards. So, somewhere right in there, 13 games is almost a season. Kirk Cousins averages 3,500 yards plus a season. He's had seven seasons with 4,000 yards. The rest have been 3,000 yards or more, except for last year. Bo Nix has 7,706, in case anybody was wondering. Total touchdown passes. Patrick Mahomes in the last 5 years has 191. Justin Herbert, last 5 years, has 163. And Kirk Cousins in the last 5 years, with 14 games less. I missed a game. 14 games less, has 20,593. So he is 4,000 yards passing yards away from Justin Herbert and 6,000 passing yards away from Patrick Mahomes. But in 14 games, that's right around 3,000 for him. So that puts him pretty damn close to both of those quarterbacks. Interceptions. Patrick Mahomes has 67 in the last 5 years. Justin Herbert, only 58. And Kirk Cousins, only 60. Now, Kirk Cousins played 14 less games. So those interceptions would probably be somewhere in the 70s, which would be worse than Patrick Mahomes. Bo Nix in that time has 54 interceptions. Total amount of sacks. Patrick Mahomes in the last 5 years have been sacked 173 times. Justin Herbert, 225 times. 225. Lord have mercy, that's a lot. Kirk Cousins, 171. Now, what does this have in common? Nothing. But Aiden O'Connell in 17 games has less sacks than Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, and Kirk Cousins have had in any of their seasons. Just for the statue with a bad offensive line and no wide receivers and no running game. How does that work? How does this work? I don't know. But anyways, Bo Nix has 23 interceptions, sacks 46, rushing attempts. Now this is where it differs between Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert. Rushing attempts, Patrick Mahomes has 370, Herbert has 290, and Cousins has 146. Now the big discrepancy is out of those 370 rushing attempts, Patty Mahomes has 2,012 yards. Justin Herbert has 1,173. Kirk Cousins, 400. So for all y'all that are screaming at me, I don't know football because I think Aiden O'Connell is better than Kirk Cousins right now, mobility-wise, yes. Age-wise, yes. Arm strength-wise, yes. Now, knowledge of the football game, no. But what it takes to complete passes and run an offense, I believe yes, bro. I believe yes. Rushing touchdowns. Out of 370 attempts, Mahomes has 18. Out of 290 attempts, Herbert has 13. Out of 146 attempts, Kirk Cousins has 5. 5. Man, Aiden O'Connell has 2 rushing touchdowns. Just saying. In 17 games, not 81. Not 80. In 81 games, bro. In 81 games, you got 5 rushing touchdowns. That's crazy talk to me. Crazy talk. So yeah, those are those stats. So Arnie Garza, I hope that answers your question the hard way. Can Kirk Cousins would he be better in this system? Yes. Can he compete in this system? Absolutely. Can we beat the Chiefs in week 4 with a Kirk Cousins? I believe so. I believe so. Don't like Geno, but he's durable, getting sacked 62 times. But how many hits did he take? Question. Cousins would have been on IR after 4 games, to be honest. I have to disagree with that, Arnie Garza. If you go back and watch the film, and I always say this, the tape don't lie. Geno Smith never really got hit. Out of every one of those sacks, the dude folded up like a lawn chair and laid on the ground. He only got hit 2 times out of those 60-something sacks. Twice. He didn't see coming. The rest of the time, he had a chance to run. He had a chance to throw, and the dude folded up like wet bread on like a lawn chair and just curled up in a ball. Like, don't hit me. So, no, I disagree with that. Cousins would have been sacked, but Cousins gets the ball out faster. He makes better decisions pre-snap. Read, right? He's very decisive with where he's going the ball pre-snap. Geno Smith looked to me like he was throwing to the number 1 target in every single play. He didn't go through progressions, didn't really have time to, but it looked like he was, the ball's going to Brock Bowers. I'm waiting for Brock Bowers to get open. The ball's going to Trey Tucker. I'm waiting for Trey Tucker to have an opening to throw him the ball. And I felt like that was the whole season last year. Welcome, Kenneth, and thanks for the support. Kenneth, my guy, what's good? I'm a close friend of 401 Jeff. I figured I'd come on and show some love. Appreciate you, my brother. Thanks for showing some love. Thanks for popping in. Steak tacos, LOL. Maybe. Definitely appreciate you pulling up. Got him, fam. You did get modded, right? I have to go back and look now. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're blue. I can't see it on this live stream. It's crazy. The plug calling? Nah, it was the sun for food. What you mean, bro? I am the plug. Definitely interested to see how Mendoza does his rookie year. I definitely want to see how he does too, and I think preseason is going to show it all. Right, preseason is going to show it all. There's it's seems kind of telling to me if he doesn't play a lot in the preseason, right? If his contract isn't signed, that's another thing. Could the Raiders be using this Mendoza contract signing as a way to, keep him on the emergency quarterback list and, make it look like, well, it's Mendoza's agent who hasn't signed a contract. Because until that contract is signed, there's no Mendoza in the preseason. There's no Mendoza in the regular season. Until you sign that contract, you cannot play a game in the NFL. So you got a month to sign that contract. And if it doesn't get signed very, very quickly, it's going to have to start leading to some questions and definitely some speculations because, maybe the Raiders have a plan and maybe the plan is not to sign the damn contract until the season starts and not play him at all through the preseason. I don't know. I don't know the plan. He smoked it on Marshall. LOL. Needs more. Nah, bro. Nah, I got plenty. Plenty. I'm good on that. Raider Barbie. I'm changing my name. Thanks. There you go. Raider Barbie. Now you got a new name. Shout out to God and family. Oh, finances. Oh, I can't read. I told you I can't read. I can't read. She must be on the vertical stream. It doesn't tell me which stream they're on, so I don't know. But yeah, she's probably on her phone. She can't put her phone down. Like it's glued to her hand, literally. If she wipes her face, she's wiping it with her hand. It doesn't go anywhere. Frank Weber in the building. What's good? What's good? What are we tripping about? Nothing. Pressure is winning Ohio State, Alabama, Oregon, Miami national championship. With the college that has been dominated by Michigan, Ohio State throughout their history. I can agree with that to an extent, Arnie Garza. Yes, he performed well in those games. Okay, he performed okay in those games. But if you're telling me 160 yards against Ohio, right? I don't know. I don't know. You're right. Let's just say you're right. Let's just say you're right. He did have a lot of pressure in college football, but I have to argue that he had one of the best teams ever in the history of college football. I mean, they had 3, 4, 5 solid wide receivers. One went in the first round. One I thought was going to go, at least close to it or in a second. And one's going to go in the first round next year in Charlie Becker. I mean, you have Black and Roman Himby, who I believe both are gonna make a name for themselves in the NFL. Himby, I hope is with the Raiders, but I don't know. So yeah, there's pressure in all those games. But you can also say that um, a guy like Curtis Rourke beat all those teams last year as the year before as well. They only lost 2 games. I think one was to Ohio. But the other games, Curtis Rourke did the same thing Mendoza did. And to me, that's you have to have those questions. And Penn State. And Penn State. The Penn State game was a damn good drive. But you honestly got to look at that throw and look how high Omar Cooper jumped out of the damn building to catch that ball and come down with it because it was a high thrown ball. Now he didn't have to throw it that high. It wasn't the greatest pass by Mendoza. Everybody gives him credit for that, the great cast. But I think a lot of that credit should go to Omar Cooper for making that catch. That was an insane catch. The catch was much better than the throw, in my opinion. Now, maybe he had to throw it that high, but when I watched the film, I didn't see any reason for the ball to be thrown as high as it was. And if Omar Cooper doesn't make that play, they don't win that game in Penn State, right? And maybe that changes the whole season. I don't know. IQ is making correct protections will be huge for Mendoza. Geno past quarterback here have had issues with Geno and past quarter. Yeah. It does make a huge difference. It does make a huge difference. But man, we've had Aiden O'Connell in the building for a long time that makes very good decisions. I mean, look at his turnover ratio. Look at how many times the kid has been sacked in the 22 games he's played in. So sometimes being smart doesn't always win you football games. Raider fan for 54 years. Let's go Raider Nation. Let's get back to commitment to excellence. Jeffrey Walker in the building. Great comment. Let's please get back. Please get back. Cousins is underrated. He's highly underrated. He's highly underrated. Now, I'm sure they're looking at it like I'm looking at it and going, okay, well, you know, second year off an Achilles, that's a bad injury. It usually takes 2 years to get back to form. But then you also have to look at last year and what he did with an Atlanta Falcons team that had weapons galore. I mean, more weapons than we got right now. To be honest, you got the best number one rated by ESPN, number one running back in all of football in Bijan Robinson. That takes a lot of pressure off of Kirk Cousins. He didn't do very good last year. Now, is age catching up to him? Right? Is his vision not the same as it was? I mean, there's a lot of questions with Kirk Cousins, but I feel like he's still highly underrated. He's very efficient. He can get the ball where it needs to be. He knows how to beat defenses. Like I said, he knows where he's going with the ball pre-snap read. He also knows that he can change plays and knows when to check out of plays and what plays to check into. And I think that takes time as a quarterback. Even for Aiden O'Connell, the 22 starts that he has or 20 starts he has are games that he's played. He wasn't given that opportunity to change plays at the line of scrimmage, right? The only opportunity you get is if you see a play and you're like, this ain't gonna work, check into a run play. But with Cousins, I feel like it's gonna be different. They're gonna give him that leadway to, okay, I see what the defense is trying to do. Let's switch into this play and let's run this guy on a hot route, right? And get Brock Bowers on a hot route or Trey Tucker on a hot route, matched up with a linebacker, on inside. You never know. You never know. So Cousins experience is definitely overlooked. It's amazing how stats change when a player limits mistakes. Facts, facts. Especially for a quarterback, all of your stats depend on somebody else. The quarterback is the only position in the NFL where all of your stats depend on somebody else. It depends on the guy catching it. It depends on the offensive line protecting you. It pretends, guys getting open. Like basically, it all comes down to your life is in somebody else's hands. Your stat life, not life, but your stat life is in somebody else's hands. And for a quarterback, that's rough because you can throw the perfect pass and have it hit right in the hands and a guy drop it for a first down. And then your stats look worse. Or you can have a guy wide open for a touchdown and hit him perfectly and him drop it. And I'm sure as long as Kirk Cousins played, he's had that happen way too many times that he wants to remember. Shout out for the $2 smackerizzle, my nizzle. Raiders. Appreciate you high today. Mahomes has um Mahomes has quite a few first downs when he scrambles. Gotta say that. Yeah, he does. I mean, he's brilliant. He knows when to run, right? He knows where the play is going to go. He knows which way the defense is going to go. If you're flooding to the left, you want to roll out to the right. Not all quarterbacks are that smart. Let's be honest. I've seen plenty of quarterbacks run a play where, everybody's flooding and the pressure comes and they run that way. Like, damn, just roll out of the pocket and go. Pick up the first down. There's nobody over there. So, yeah, smarts, decision making makes a difference. And Patrick Mahomes is great at, you know, making plays, um, making plays off his mark, right? Making unscripted plays. One of the best. One of the best. But will he be able to do that this year, coming off the injury? And how long will it be before he gets back to that? Gino was lawn furniture, kind of like the offensive line. Lawn furniture, I love it. Contract will be signed. I'm not worried. I'm kind of worried. I'm kind of worried. I'm a little bit worried. I think she was on Twitter. Ultimate team game. Yeah, and that's what appreciate that, Jason Marshall. That's what a lot of people seem to underestimate about these quarterbacks and running backs, right? Ashton Genty, is a bust because he didn't rush for over 1,000 yards his rookie year. But he didn't have nobody to take the defense out of a stacked box. I mean, they might not have been a stacked box pre-snap, but post-snap, they're sending everybody. They're sending everybody. And where are you gonna go? Where are you gonna go? So yes, it is the ultimate team sport. There is no, more ultimate team sport, right? You got 5-on-5 in basketball. Um, Baseball definitely kind of team sport, but it's a lot more individual, right? You're not counting on guys as much as you are in football. So yeah, quarterbacks to me, I think are I don't know, to me are just way overrated, way overpaid. I'm sorry. It's just the way I feel, right? I mean, I know you have all the pressure on the offense, but if your team is good, like Fernando Mendoza's was, it makes it so much easier. So much easier. Online historically worst allowing the most yards contact behind the line. Yeah, that was I mean, you can't do anything in the NFL with that. What are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do? All right, let me get to these last questions I have. Let me erase this one because I put it up. Last questions, and I'm gonna get out here. 2 hours. Shout out to everybody in the building. I was gonna get off in an hour, but I just start talking and I can't shut up. Problem runs in the family. Which rookies will start week one? Do you feel it's one rookie, two rookies, three rookies, goose egg rookies? Let me know what rookie you feel are rookies. If it's more than one, plural, let me know. Which rookies do you feel have a chance to start day uno? And if you don't know the rookies, let me break them down for you. Fernando Mendoza, Traden Stukes, Karan Crawford. Trying to go off the top of my head. Trey Zoom, Gerard McCoy, Mike Washington, Hezekiah Masses, Malik Benson, and I always forget the last one. Um, Campbell. What is it? Damn, what's that dude's name? I'm sorry, I forget your name. The one guy I don't know if he's gonna be on the roster. So yeah, I forget sometimes. I forget sometimes. But let me know which rookies will start week one, if any. Do you think there's some? Do you think there's none? Do you think there's a couple? No Mendoza, but I think Masses and Washington will start. You think Masses gonna start week one? I like that. I like that. That would be cray cray. That would be crazy. To me, that's big. That's big both ways. Because if Hezekiah Masses starts day one, that means Dante Thornton. I mean, not Dante Thornton. Darian Porter is not the man they thought he was going to be, and you know, and Gerard McCoy is not the guy that they think is going to be either, or can't stay healthy, or they don't trust him out there. One or the other. One, maybe two opening day. Frank says Stooks week one. Jason Marshall. Kenny says I think so. All right, I'm giving you my predictions. I feel like day one starters is going to be Traden Stooks. And I really think that's it, to be honest with you. To be honest with you. I feel Traden Stooks. I don't feel they start Mendoza day one. Washington isn't starting over Genty, barring some major catastrophe. Malik Benson has a chance, possibly, to be that third wide receiver, but that's you would have to get great quarterback play, great offensive line play for him to be able to do his job and take the top off the defense. Um, so Stooks, I feel is a week one starter. You don't think Washington's not going to start because Ashton Genty's going to start? Who else though? Who else do you think? You love Benson, big fan. I feel like he's got a chance to be special, man. With his speed, you know, he's got those long arms, not big hands though. That's one thing that scares me about tall receivers with speed that don't have big hands. That's a problem. That's Trey Tucker's problem, right? He's got like 8 3/4 or 8 5/8 inch hands. If Trey Tucker's hands were bigger, man, he'd be one of the top receivers in the NFL with his speed and the way he runs routes. He runs damn good routes. He gets open. He creates separation. It's just that the steps are smaller, the hands are smaller, right? So, um, but yeah, I really like Malik Benson. I feel he's the reason Dante Thornton doesn't make this team. Him or Cedric Jackson. I'm gonna keep screaming that. McCoy, yes, bingo. I would love to see McCoy start day one. That means the Raiders trust in him, they believe in him, and his knee holding up and being healthy. I just don't feel like that's the case. Like I said earlier, if we see McCoy, I just believe it's going to be in sub packages where he's not out there a lot until he shows that, hey, my knee's not hurting. I'm not having any arthritis, right? There's no rubbing issues on bone to bone because it is bone to bone. So if he shows that, I see him possibly taking over the starting job if Porter's struggling and if Hezekiah Masses can't be that other guy. But McCoy's a long shot for me. McCoy's a long shot for me. I really feel like the Raiders have a plan for him, and it's not to start. But he's going to be used an awful lot. It's an awful lot. Let's say that. Don't count out Crawford. That would be great, bro. That would be great for us. That's great. That would be great for us, Frank Weber. To if my guy Crawford that I think is going to be that breakout guy this year, out of the rookies, if he could come out off the jump, right? And you don't have to be a starter, but if he is a starter, man, that changes everything for us because now the Raiders feel like you got a guy in with that Max Crosby ability of, a fourth round pick, started, had 10 sacks his rookie year. If Crawford could have a year like that, 8 to 10 sacks his rookie year, that changes everything for this defense. Crystal Ball, hope everyone is having a good day. Hope you're having a good day as well, my brother. Crawford will be rotating and with both in for Kuntz and Crosby. You think he rotates on both sides of the ball? That would be nice. That would be nice. Doesn't he play? Where do you play that? Is he more the right side or left side? I'll have to look that up. He played opposite of um so I want to say he was on the right side. I want to say he was on the right side. But man, if this man could go out in preseason, if this young man could go out in preseason and show that he deserves more snaps than Kwity Paye and Malcolm Kuntz, man, that's huge for us because you could just trade Malcolm Kuntz. I mean, if that's the case, why keep him around at $11 million? Trade him, get some shit out the books, go get a receiver or a defensive tackle. If that's the case, that would be great for us. I don't know what that emoji is, but go Chiefs. I don't think they have a go Chiefs emoji. I don't think they have one of those. But yeah, so not a lot of options, not a lot of options, right? Just because of the way this team is structured. I feel like it's going to be hard for Malik to be a starter. That means Jack Besh, which is bad for us, is not the guy some of us think he is. That also means, right? If Malik Benson's our that third receiver, that means a lot of receivers are not what we thought they were. I mean, to be honest, Cedric Jackson, yeah, that changes a lot. Right, left doesn't matter. Play both ends. Max doesn't stay on one side. He pretty much stays on one side. Now, there's times where they move him over to the other side, but it's not very often. He pretty much is that left side guy. And yes, they stun him and move him around. And I feel like this year being more of the outside linebacker position than having your hand in the ground every single play. I feel like if that changes, man, Max Crosby could be a nightmare. Because if you got Max standing up as the outside linebacker, not with his hand on the line, you don't know if he's coming in the A gap or the B gap, or if he's rushing from where he's at. That's going to be a problem for teams. That's going to be a big problem for teams. So yeah, man, that's what I got. I got one more question, I do believe, and then we are out of here. Who finishes with the best rookie season? Which player finishes with the best rookie season? Now, if you watch this video afterwards, feel free in the comments to chime in on any of these takes, on any of these questions while you're watching it on your phone or watching it at home. Pick up your phone, pop it on YouTube, leave a comment, let me know. Would love to hear your take as well. Who finishes with the best rookie season? 6-7 in the building. Having a 3-4 available will make this defense unpredictable. You know what's one thing? You know what's great about the 3-4 defense? Is I'm pretty positive, like 99% positive, that all of our Super Bowls were won. You guessed it. In a 3-4 defense base. 3-4 base defense. I'm pretty damn sure. I'm not saying we're going to the Super Bowl, but I know some people will insinuate that. And it'd be great if we do. I would love every single bit of it. But, we got to be realistic. But being realistic, I'm sure there was every Patriot fan on the planet thinking, all right, well, we got Mike Vrabel, we got Josh McDaniels back. We're going to be good in 2 or 3 years. It just so happened they were good that year. Right? Never mind. I answered that before. You said Ricky. Ricky who? Ricky Bobby? Ricky Bobby? Tokyo Toe. Okay. Tokyo Toe will have the best rookie season. That's a very, very smart pick, my brother. That's a very smart pick. Because you got to kick the extra points, which I hope there's a lot of. You got to kick field goals, which I hope there's not too many of. And then you make the playoff. So yeah, Tokyo Toe is a smart pick, man. I wouldn't disagree with that. I feel like you can't go wrong with the Tokyo Toe. I don't know why this was like this the whole time. It should have been like that, but it is what it is. Mine is Mike Washington. Mine is Mike Washington. Who has the best rookie season? I feel like it's Mike Washington. If you look at the biggest problem for the Raiders last year, it was the fact that Ashton Genty had to run the ball 260 times. It was the fact that on first down, they knew we were running the ball. Brock Bowers was on one leg. He was getting double teamed. Who else are you throwing it to? Right? You got Geno throwing the ball. Not very good within 5 to 10 yards on the outside. Not very good within 20 yards plus in the middle, right? A lot of problems, a lot of routes that should not have been run. If you want to go over to next gen stats, if you have this capability, go over next gen stats, pull up the wide receivers and look at the routes they ran, and then go look at some of the other routes in the NFL that they were running. These got to be the most lamest routes I've ever seen. They're not even on the route tree. Like you got guys running like complete loops back to the ball instead of coming back. I mean, yeah, like no straight lines and cuts. Everything's just drawn out, big circle radiuses. I mean, the routes just, I don't know. Nothing was good last year. The offensive system with Chip Kelly was horrible. And then you tried to keep that same system, and let our guy go in there and try to change it around. And I felt like he did a very, very good job with that playbook, right? Towards the end of the season. I mean, Genty had some big games, right? Trey Tucker had a 3 touchdown game. I think Brock had a 3 touchdown game, right? So there were some upsides. But man, it was so bad, so bad. Absolutely. 3-4 is and our own Super Bowl. Right? See? Hell yeah. So again, not saying Super Bowl, but I'm saying all of our Super Bowls were won out of this style defense. I think Rob Leonard knows that. I feel like if there's anybody in this building that has studied the culture, studied the past, and studied the history of the Las Vegas slash LA slash Oakland Raiders, it's Rob Leonard, man. This dude just screams Raider. The way he carries himself, the way, he ain't afraid to get on people's ass, right? And let you know. The way he, the way he gives Max um more than he can handle, right? Constantly challenging Max every single day. So we got a lot to look forward to. We got a lot to look forward to. And Chip Kelly to Clint Kubiak is night and day, bro. It's night and day. Night and day. Hayward gonna make Genty and company look good. 100%. 100% Frank Weber. I love that. The fullback is an unforgotten, I mean, is a you know, forgotten thing in the NFL. So many teams have went away from the fullback. But the teams that have a fullback, there's one thing that difference from the teams that run a fullback and the teams that don't run a fullback. And that is physicality and violence on offense. Teams that have a fullback are 100 times more physical on offense than teams that don't run a fullback. Just my opinion. When you have a guy with no ball in his hand coming through and smacking your linebacker in the mouth in the A gap, and a guy like Ashton Genty right behind him running over safeties, it's gonna be huge, bro. It's gonna be huge. It's gonna be huge. Highest paid OC made the worst. I mean, we all knew that, right? We all knew that. We all knew that. We talked about it all off season. Why not let Pete Carroll go out and get his guy? I feel like Pete Carroll was set up for failure. I feel like Patrick Graham was set up for failure. I feel like Chip Kelly was set up for failure. And I'll be the one to say it. I feel like that whole season was set up to go out and get our franchise quarterback. It just felt like that. It just felt like that from the jump. Like there's no way you can have that much experience in the building with Pete Carroll and all the wins he's had and all the places he's gone and what he's done the first year with a lot of those teams that didn't have the talent that the Raiders had on it. None of it made sense. None of it made sense. And then to find out Chip Kelly is the guy and they send Pete Carroll to California to, ask him to be the job. All of that was set up, bro. It was so phony and set up. I mean, if you have to pay a guy to be the highest paid offensive coordinator in the NFL, it tells me one of two things. You are desperate as hell, and that dude didn't want to be here. Like, if you got to be the highest paid offensive coordinator because you won a national championship in college, you didn't want to be here. He never wanted to be here. And then when he got here, everything he did said sabotage. I mean, come on. You let the offensive line coach put JPJ from center to guard. You put Meredith to center. You try to change Ashton Genty's stance. You give him 7 carries the first game, 10 the next, 13. I mean, you didn't even use him out of the backfield in the passing game until Greg Olsen took over, really. And then he still had 300 and something plus yards and 5 touchdowns. So, yeah, it was bad. It was bad. And I really feel like the people that brought that group in knew exactly how this season was going to go. I mean, you can't tell me that, and if you do tell me that they didn't know that it was going to go something like that, then none of those people should still be in the building. Because if you can't look at Geno Smith, you can't look at Alex Kappa, and you can't look at Stone Forsythe, and the rest of the people that Pete Carroll brought in and say, come on, this is what we're going with. This is what we're going with. This is what we're going to just compete baby with. I mean, yeah, the writings were on the wall from day one. And as soon as they started pushing that Dante Thornton Jr. was the number 1 receiver, go back and watch my videos. Come on. I'm like, man, just don't see it. I don't see it. Shout out for the Spain soccer ball. That's awesome. I like that. That's nice. I can't put it up on the screen. I hate when they do that. Shout out for the Argentina soccer ball. Who won? Who won today? I know it was 0-0 at the half, and then I really don't care, honestly. I'm just trying to make conversation. But shout out, man. Appreciate everybody that rocked this whole time. 2 hours and 22 minutes. Again, it's never supposed to go this long, but y'all are the greatest. And, as long as y'all got questions, I got time for the family. So appreciate y'all rocking this long. Appreciate all the questions. Appreciate all the love and support for the channel. It really means a lot, and helps us keep grinding and putting out okay content for y'all. Soon to be great, but appreciate everybody in the building. And I will say this. Just win, baby. Protect your mind, yourself, your family, and your friends, and always hold a commitment to excellence to yourself. Peace. Much love. Raiders.
The rebellion. Raiders Unleashed on the screen. Hit that subscribe. It's the RaidersRebel in the building. Silver and black. 2026. Yeah. Welcome to the desert. You know what time it is. Let's go! Left the bay for the lights, now we lighting up the strip. A legion in the desert, yeah, we built a mothership. No more dirt on the diamond, no more Coliseum rain. Just a blacked out dome where we deal out the pain. We're the villains of the league, always been the outcast. Built on Al Davis' ghost and we're built to outlast. The torch is still burning, it's a lifestyle of greed. In the city of sin, we're the only ones you need. Silver and black is back, check the throne. The Raiders got a new home in the dome. The nation is rising, we're coming for everyone. Forget the other 31, we're the only ones. Yeah, we're unleashed. Rebel with the vision, Raider nation worldwide. Making that precision. Vegas, yeah, the leadership is changing. Tom Brady in the office, things are rearranging. The GOAT is a minority owner, that's a fact. Bringing that winning DNA, no turning back. From the field to the booth, now he's part of the shield. Watching from the suite while we're dominant on the field. The rebels on the mic, Raiders unleashed on the tube. Giving you the raw truth, we don't move like a rube. I'm a rebel with a cause, and the cause is the win. Blacking out the sun, let the nightmare begin. Chiefs, boats, and the ponies, they can all catch a fade. They're just stepping stones for the history we made. From the pirate on the helmet to the patch on the eye. We're the heartbeat of Vegas under that desert sky. Turn the volume up high, let the channel go live. In the Raider Nation, only the strongest survive. Silver and black is back, check the throne. The Raiders got a new home in the dome. The nation is rising, we're coming for everyone. Forget the other 31, we're the only ones. Yeah, we're unleashed, rebel with the vision. Raider Nation worldwide, making that precision. One mission, one pride, until the game is won. Fuck the other 31, we're second to none. You hear the RAIDERS chant. They thought we'd go soft in the desert, they can't. We brought the autumn wind to the 702. The rebel and unleashed, coming straight for you. Raiders unleashed, you know where to find us. Raiders World, keeping it 100. Vegas is ours, the dome is ours, the shield is forever. Raiders unleashed on the screen. Hit that subscribe. It's the Raiders Rebel in the building. Silver and black.